going to extra time, but there's still 5 minutes to play here, Mark. And by all means, there could be more chances. Still in the box, and it's another goal! And it's Andre Cole, the hero for Croydon! We thought it was over, but it's not over, and Croydon look like they're going to go all the way to the win.
We can't say that now.
Here goes Yuki Sasaki into the area. Penagaris, Chrissy Penagaris. Adelaide Comets have taken the lead.
Falcon there, but it leaves Owen Windsor. And a third for Metro Stars.
Here's Emma Ryan. She's not one of them because she's from Darwin. The shot from DeCola. Lily DeCola scores in the cup final again and wins it for West Adelaide.
As the ball cuts back here to Odenwalder. And James Odenwalder scores. He makes it 2-0 for West Adelaide on the day.
I bet he was going to be Travella if he puts one in. He goes himself instead. And it's still Soy Sakani. It's unbelievable, David, as well. And that one is definitely going to be credited to him.
Will have to be chased down by Rapawano. He'll put in a cross of his own. Hobbs wasn't able to capture it. It's in! It's not the one that seals that Atletico promotion.
I got the skills to make the girls sing, and the geezers too. Yeah, we're doing this thing.
Hello, welcome to One Game at a Time for Wednesday, the 18th of March. I'm Seb O'Neill. As always, joined by my three co-hosts, and a question which I've been waiting for a week to ask because I was on mute last week. Mark Talbot, this is a great question. What's your go-to brand of bottled water?
Does my fridge count?
Are you going like
water.
tap water or?
I just have a filtered fridge water. So I have a fridge that has a filter in it, so I just get water from there, and I have a big Yeti bottle that I take with me. So I don't really have a go-to bottle of water.
Okay, not a great start to the question. Yep, all good. David, for you?
I'm the same. I don't have a brand that I'm particularly loyal to or seek out, so it's really just TAP is one I use that I drink quite a lot.
Okay, Alessio, are you going to let me down as well, or is there a go-to maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. This cost of living, Seb, you're buying bottled water so often. I drink tap water as well. I mean, I think we have cold glass bottles of water because they've been filled up by the tap in the fridge. That's about it.
Well, I'm happy I waited a week to ask that question.
I'm so glad you asked that one, Seb.
Non-answers. Wow, I was really looking forward to that one, and you gave me nothing. Yes, as always, welcome back to the show. We'll go through our picks of the week. Just starting off as well, thank you to everyone. We just hit over 300 subscribers on YouTube, which is very, very cool. So thank you to those listening for helping us get to that goal. So thank you very much for that. And don't forget to follow and subscribe and engage with all our other things we do across social media. It's very much appreciated, and it helps us out to help out the community as much as we can. But as we start, we're going to the picks of the week. I will start off with some, I guess, sort of pride in sort of national teams and state teams. The national teams, of course, the Matildas made it into the Asian Cup final, which we played on Saturday, which is very, very cool. Only the one South Australian. She hasn't actually played in Alex Chidiac, but still one involved nonetheless. And that's really exciting to see a trophy in Australia as well. It's a huge thing, and very much looking forward to that match. And I think the other semi-final being played in just about 20 minutes' time between Japan and Korea to find out our opponent there. Looking at the Socceroos side of things, Mohamed Toure was named as the EFL Young Player of the Month, which is very, very cool to see. He has been out injured for a few weeks now, but his start to the season at Norwich was phenomenal. Scoring a hat-trick and a few others after only a few appearances. Good to see. And then Nestor Nkunda as well, scoring a brilliant goal against Stoke. It was only a consolation in the end, but he's had an assist this morning, this against Stoke on the weekend, certainly coming into form. I think the Socceroos squad is being announced tomorrow for their upcoming FIFA series, the friendly series they're having in Australia, and very much in prime position to be called up for the World Cup. And just finally as well, a shout out for the Adelaide United women's team as well. They played this afternoon, had a 0-0 draw with Melbourne City. They sit second on the table with 3 games to go, a game in hand on Melbourne City, of course, coached by Michael Matriciani, 2 South Australian coaches facing each other this afternoon. And yeah, just very excited for them. Hopefully they can somehow pip Melbourne City. They've got a massive goal difference on Adelaide to Melbourne City, but in the last 3 games, hoping for some big results. So yeah, sort of a roundup and a bit of national and state pride to start off. Mark, we'll go to you.
Yeah, it's probably something we should have picked on last week, but there were other picks of the week, and it is the report that has come out regarding the SAPA report that they carried out, should I say, about the structure of football in SA. So they were really looking at the structures, how each league is set up, pathways for aspiring clubs, as we've seen the likes of Adelaide Atletico, Plimpton Bulldogs, all the new teams that have been coming in, and to facilitate growth, continued growth, all senior competitions in metro areas. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how it pans out. So they carried out this report, SAPA carried out the report. There is actually a fair bit to it. I've gotten through some of it, but it's a 72-page document, and I'm not going to read it all tonight. I think
Why not?
I think you guys can read that yourselves.
That's your job, isn't it?
But it basically summarizes a bit of a bottleneck of player transition from juniors to seniors, and they want to try and keep obviously as many of those players involved as possible as they move into seniors. So that's one of the key talking points. Another key talking point was the CSL. And obviously the SASL and how they're not connected, they're only affiliated. So there was lots of things that come out of the report. They also, one of the big things is the FSA should restructure the underpinning NPL state leagues, state league first team competitions to an 18s, 20s, 23s to try and maximise player retention, which I think would then push the 18s to almost a junior setup in and playing on Sundays instead of Saturdays. So that was probably one of the bigger things. And they also were looking at how the FSA can integrate a senior community amateur competition that would aid player retention. Because obviously if you don't make a state league side, then you've got to look at your CSLs and your SASLs. They are talking about the CSL then going strictly back to collegiate football and not being in the league. So they'll be a collegiate. You had to have gone to that school to play in it. So the FSA did respond. They're taking it on board. The FSA should some of the things FSA's response to about the restructure. FSA supports that recommendation of the 18s, 20s, 23s. They also, not a priority for the FSA to engage a senior community amateur league. They're going to leave that to the SASL and the CSL. I believe the SASL have come out and had their own statement as well. I haven't caught onto that one yet. FSA sports recommendations subject to adoption by CSL and SASL, which is those recommendations of going back to collegiate for CSL and only having players that went to those schools. The FSA supports the recommendation of larger structure in the state leagues, which is what they're currently doing anyway. So there was lots to come out of it. The FSA continues to require that only clubs participating in the NPL and state leagues may field teams in the YCC, which is the youth setup, the YCC from under 13s to under 16s. And the FSA want to continue with that. Then there's a few things about business development, trying to keep volunteers in as well. So there's a little bit more structure there for the volunteers. So there's plenty that came out of it. The FSA responded to 11 of those sort of points that the SAPA made. So if you get a chance, by all means, I'd recommend probably having a look at it, see where your club fits into it, and sort of see what, because I dare say the Federation will now come out with a X amount of point plan to incorporate all these new structures or recommendations. So have a look. It's on the FSA website. And like I said, I've read some of it, haven't got through all of it. I do have a day job, so I don't get to just sit and read, but it's worth having a look at.
No, thanks for that, Mark. David, I'll go on to you next.
So my pick of the week, I've got two. I'll be very quick. The first one was Elizabeth Downs making their FSA League's debut at the weekend, hosting Gawler, a match that the home side won 2-0. But I thought it was really nice of them to see, or really nice to see them being piped out onto the ground. They had a pipe band there that piped them out as they came out. I'll just pause for a moment, let you enjoy this. Obviously, if you're listening rather than watching, you're not going to get the visual, but up at Argana Park, that's Elizabeth Downs setting off in a new chapter in their long history, and piped onto the ground. I've forgotten the name of the pipe band that was there, but I thought that was a really nice touch. They should do that every week, maybe. And then my second pick of the week is just to say that a few more of our local leagues are kicking off or have kicked off at last weekend. The women's comp, the senior women's comp below the state league, that's the community league started. It started last weekend. Tonight the Sasso HJ Templin pre-season cup final is underway. Well, it kicks off at 7:30, which is about 15 minutes from now. Parahouse East hosting Modbury Jets there. That's, as I understand it, a pre-season cup that you enter by invitation or you apply for. The other big one that Sasso have is this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. the Alex Chichanowski Shield, which is the traditional season opener in terms of the Saturday Division 1 champions playing off against the Sunday Division 1 champions. So that's Bosa, Blackfriars Old Scholars, hosting, well, they're not hosting because the game's been played at Smith Partners, so it's a neutral venue. Parahills East as well in that one. And this weekend, round one of Sasso's Challenge Cup is underway. So there's only a few teams playing in that. Westwood, Bay United, Elizabeth Downs, Virginia United, Brothers United and Northern Wolves. So there's only a handful of games being played, and a number of teams have got a bye in round one. But that's Sasso underway. Their league doesn't start for another 2 weeks. But their cup games, they've started competitive games in terms of cup competition, and the women's community divisions, as I mentioned before, also underway. So 2026 is up and running.
Absolutely. Alessio, finally to you to finish us off for our picks.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to David as well. As you did mention, a couple of the other leagues kicked off on the weekend. State League 2 North and South, in particular, of importance that I would have a look at. Some cracking games as well between probably a couple of promotion favourites as well. We'll talk about later in the day. But I think that there was some massive results, especially up at Northern Demons and even down south at Seaford against Strikers were two of the games of the round I think we picked from each of those leagues. But yeah, everything's kicked off now and it's really exciting. I think we might have had the cup results or the cup draw last week. But some of them have now been confirmed, I guess, for the dates around Easter as well, with a lot of them on a Thursday night, a couple of on a Saturday, and I think is it Sunday or Monday where there's a couple of more. But
I think it's just there's one game on Wednesday, which is Comets and Uni, and then the rest are Thursday, Saturday, I think.
Yeah, so it's interesting fixturing around that as well. I mean, it kind of doesn't allow for a lot of call-ups for a lot of 18s and reserve players in those games. So any cup ties are going to be probably strongly not happening, I guess. So other than that, that's about it for my picks of the week.
Oh, perfect. We will move on to our next part of the show as per usual.
That was a very quiet knock this week, isn't it? That was very timid.
It was very quiet. Would they knock again? Oh, that's a better knock. That one. Alessio, I think it's your door.
All
right. Don't be so enthusiastic about it.
Looks like we've got a couple of Beograd boys. We've got Antoni Trimboli and Adrian D'Aloia.
Oh, wow. How smooth. Thank you to the both of you for joining us. Pleasure to have the both of you. Starting off, again, question as always, I have the simple ones to get us underway. Antoni, we'll start with you. Your football journey so far, up until now?
Just from coming into the NPL, or just from there sort of thing, or
you can go from wherever, really, from juniors, wherever you want to start.
So probably just go from, I guess, coming back to Adelaide. I was originally playing in Italy for a couple of years as a junior. I think I did my juniors at Comets in Croydon, a couple of years at City, and then I was in Italy for a couple of years and came back and played with the United youth team. Played a couple of games in the A-League, senior setup as well, and then came back into the NPL system, where I've spent probably most of my time at Croydon. Had a year with Campbelltown, and then obviously been at Beograd for the last 3 years, which has been really, really good.
Perfect. Adrian, for you?
Yeah, not a amazing playing career, but yeah, I did play 70, 80 games in state league. I guess it was back then when there was 2 leagues. But more so on the coaching side, I probably got into it about 7, 8 years ago through Michael Matriciani in his last year at Adelaide City. So it was kind of a second assistant helping him there. And then spent about 3 years with him as an assistant. Like I've said a few times, excellent learning through him. And then, the opportunity came to coach FK Beograd in the NPL as a head coach. And this is the 3rd year there.
Perfect. My next one, I guess, just on the weekend, a massive win against Para Hills, much to my wrong prediction. But I suppose from a player and a coach perspective, starting with, I guess, from you seeing on the sidelines, of course, Antoni, how did you see the match?
Yeah, I thought it was a really, really great performance from our boys. It was just a really, really mature performance, I think, in staying patient, getting your goals, and then obviously maintaining that pressure going into the second half. I think we've had some really nice added pieces that have come in, and they're gelling really well, really quickly, which is really nice to see. Obviously maintained most of that core from last year, but those new guys that have come in, they're really doing a great job, and obviously with some of those same players from last year. So I think it was a really strong performance, and obviously momentum's a big thing in this league, so it's good to obviously get our second win this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Adrian, for you, I know you won 5-0, but coaches can always find inconsistencies. Was it an all-perfect performance, or were there still things that you found that you guys could tweak still?
Yeah, we always review the match, and there was still some things that I showed the boys last night, actually. But yeah, these games are always tricky, especially when you're expected to win. There's especially playing at home at a club like ours, we do get a lot of support. They can be tricky games, but I think getting that first goal quite early and then a second one straight after that helps settle the nerves a bit, and then we can play a little bit more freer. And like Antoni said, we have so much talent in that front third that the boys just did their thing up there, and we were rock solid defensively. We weren't threatened too much, which is good. But probably the biggest thing that I really enjoyed was the last 2 weeks we won 2 games in totally different ways. So I think David called the game at Cooper Stadium against United, where I thought the first half was fairly even. We got our goal, and then the second half we lost a bit of control of the match. And we did suffer a bit. They had, 3 or 4 really good chances. We were backs to the wall the last 15 minutes, but we found a way to win. And then obviously against Para Hills, it was a super dominant performance. 22 shots to 1, 7 or 8 corners to nothing. So it was a super, super dominant performance. And to win 5-0 in this league is not easy. So really happy with the 2 different ways to win the game.
Yeah, of course. Before I move on to the other 3 for their questions, I do have some viewer questions. And much to, I'm sure, your pleasure, Adrian, none of them are for you. They're all for Antoni. And you might recognize who they're coming from too when I say their names. So first question from @Maxim Ivanic. Trimmers, who are some of your favorite teammates you've had over the years?
He knows I'm gonna say him most recently. Definitely a favourite teammate of mine. And coming into Beograd, he'll definitely be one of them. Yeah, we had like a couple of good ones that obviously left this preseason. Obviously him, Christian Borgetto, Jared, I was quite close with. We had like a little corner in the change room there. So he definitely knows why he's asking that question. But no, I've got some really good guys from other clubs, obviously that I've played with as well. But yeah, his name's definitely up there. Yeah.
Speaking of from Christian Borgetto, Trimmers, is it true your father said you never had the makings of a varsity athlete?
He tells me every single week.
Another one.
That's for anyone who's wondering.
Another one you mentioned, @Jared Clark. Question for Trimmers. Dream job if you weren't an accountant?
Oh, I'd have to be a professional footballer. It'd have to be.
Next one at Alex Rusmir. Who spends the most time in the physio room? And then in brackets, ask trimmers specifically.
You know what? This year I haven't, like last year, yes, I was going in pretty regularly, but we've got a bit of an issue with Beograd this year where it seems to be everyone under 20 is on the bed at any one point in time for their knees, for joints, just like ridiculous things. And like, honestly, I'm quite late for training most nights with work. So it is absolutely infuriating when you see a 19-year-old on the bed asking to get something released. I don't know how you've got tight muscles or sore joints at that age. So, yeah, Rusmir needs to get off the table. Definitely needs to get off.
Second to last one from at Lorenzo Boss. When is Trimmers going to be back? And then in brackets, asking for a friend.
Well, I think probably this week. I think I'm going to be playing this week. So, yeah, trained all this week. So you should see me back in the lineup this week, I think.
Well, I hope his friend enjoyed that question. And final one from Matthew Muscroft. Ask Trimmers if he's ever been early for anything.
Yeah, back to my earlier response there. Fashionably late across, I think, the whole of my life, everywhere, wherever I've trained for whatever reason. So I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. I think that's just going to be a character for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Mark, I'll go to you.
Firstly, I think they've lined you up there, Trimmers. I think you're going to have to hit a few at training tomorrow night. Secondly, Adrian, I hope you're working on conversion this week because 22 shots and only 5 goals. I no offense, but you boys need to work on that. And I know I can say that. I'll get away with it. It's all right. Firstly, Adrian, your coaching badges. Now, from my understanding, I think, level that you've just completed your A levels. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Finished the A.
If you have finished and signed off and that, how did you go about getting to those A levels? How did you then was it an invite onto those A levels? Was it an application that you had to do to get onto those A levels? And some of those names that you're actually joining in the A League, and who are they?
Yeah, I mean, you do need to be invited. I think a few years ago they did have it in Adelaide. I was told last year, because it took the whole of last year, wasn't enough qualified applicants or coaching at a certain level to do it. So I was invited to Melbourne to do it, and I really wanted to do it. Myself and Eugene Galekovic. So yeah, it was good having Eugene. I'm good friends with him, and obviously flew over together and spent a lot of time together. Yeah, there was a lot of, probably 70-80% were full-time in football, which was good for me because it's a good network type of thing as well. Taubes, you'd remember John Markowski, former Socceroos striker.
Yep.
So he was on it, and when I was growing up, he was Socceroos striker, Melbourne Knights, this and that, and coaching in the NPL over there. And yeah, a lot of like Melbourne Victory youth team coaches, City youth team coaches, Western United, and things like that. And there's a few, obviously, NPL coaches as well. So, yeah, it was really, really insightful.
Does it give you that drive now to go, well, most of these guys are professionals or in the professional environment. Now you go, well, I've got my A levels. Can I now step into that professional environment? Can I get that next step? And also, how long did it take you to do your A levels? You said it was last year. So how long did it take in total to get that competency level? Yeah,
so it's the whole year. So there was basically 4 blocks of a week each in person. So for 4 weeks of the last year, I was in Melbourne doing this. Literally 8-9 hour days, sometimes longer, both theory and practical. And then in between those 4 weeks, there's a lot of online sessions and things like that. But the good thing is we did a goalkeeping day, and the Socceroos goalkeeper coach was there taking it for us and things like that. We had like guest A-League coaches taking sessions. Ernie Merrick did a lot with us. So when you get to the high levels, yeah, you're learning a lot, and the classes are only 18, 20 people. So, you do forge relationships with them because you're together such long hours. So, yeah, looking back, if I had to do it in Adelaide or Melbourne, I'd probably do it in Melbourne or interstate again, because you do create a network over there. And obviously these days with, LinkedIn and social media and that, you can continue those relationships, and you never know where it leads in the future.
And lastly for you, Adrian, when you do those courses, obviously it's aimed at that professional level. How much of it can you then incorporate into, and I do this with air quotes, is an amateur level, like the it's the best league we've got here in SA, but how do you then transition some of that, knowing it's probably aimed for more a professional atmosphere? Do you need to edit? Do you need to accommodate and things like that into the local league?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's more based at the professional level, because at the moment in the NPL environment, to coach senior NPL, you need your B license. So I didn't really need the A to do what I'm doing at the moment. But we did things like, media training. We did press conferences, and obviously we don't do a lot of that at local level. It's not a course where they tell you a football problem and you go put on a session outside. You're expected to know that by this stage. So it was more about, like, I remember probably a good example. They got us in groups and they said, you're going to coach the newest A-League team out of whatever city, Tasmania, put together an 8-week preseason plan and trial games and flights you got to think about, and time differences with New Zealand and things like that. So it's really opening your mind to that professional environment. But look, you can always use those type of things in the local league. Like, we still did a lot of video analysis, using some of the more advanced programs. So yeah, you can always get better at that type of thing, I think.
And Trimmers, I'm going to jump across to you. You were obviously in the AU setup a few years ago now. Do you find that it's changed a lot since you were in it to what it is now? Do the younger kids now seem to getting more opportunities than what your age bracket did when you were in it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's like some. Look, I'm not fully familiar with what their training schedule is now. I assume it'd be exactly the same in terms of the commitment they're probably asking from kids as when it was when I was there. I think, like you said, that, and it's funny you bring this up, because I was having this conversation with someone, I think like a week or so ago, about like kind of the contrast in maybe the level of opportunity or the amount of opportunity that's being given. And I think that like it's a fantastic thing to be having now, where you've got kids that are able to get into the senior setup quicker, have that exposure to the A-League. And I think with the way that I would say that pathway has probably changed to when I was there, where the key difference was you had 3 players and what they referred to as youth pros back then. 3 would be given those, and they'd be 2-year deals, whereas now they have the scholarships, which are just those youth pros spread out across more players, and the money's then divided across more players. So it enables you to keep your best kids. You can pay them for training on a full-time sort of schedule, and they're still going to have more opportunity to go in and have a chance to play. And I think because of that change, you've probably seen some of those players that have come through and I think excelled in being exposed to that level, like your Kundas, the Ture brothers. Look at like Alagic, even the ones that are in there now, Jovanovic, all these different ones that are coming through and getting those opportunities. I think I'm almost envious of now how that is. Like,
I was going to ask that.
In a good way, like not wow,
it's great to see, but I know what you mean. Yeah,
correct. Yeah, and I think that's so good for the kids now coming through, that they're going to have those opportunities to go and play and stay in the program probably longer.
The last question I've got for you: you spent a lot of your time on the wings. At Croydon, always seen as a winger. AU, I'm guessing you were seen as more of a winger. Last year, back end of the year before, you were pushed into a central role. And last year, obviously, for me, it was a revelation for the way FK Beograd played last year when you got moved centrally. How did you find that transition, moving from a wide player to an out-and-out striker, being the main man? And you really, for me, shone in that main man role up front, holding players up, bringing them in and things like that. How did you find that transition, moving into centrally instead of playing on the wing?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think I loved the move into the middle. I think probably when I first got to Belgrade, I was like obviously still playing on that wing position, and I just didn't really feel like I could have much of an impact on games for whatever reason. Like I just couldn't find myself having an impact, probably to a degree that would be a deciding factor in games. But moving in, it's kind of allowed me to, I think, like you said, I can drop in, I can hold the ball up, bring other players in, and still stretch teams like I could probably on the wing. The thing is, when you're on the wing, you're obviously just secluded to just staying on that side and working to more confined spaces. So I think probably it was probably more suited when you're playing, and I think more of a wider sort of 4-3-3 set where you're getting a bit more isolated and you have that space. But I think when you're playing more with a deeper set of wingers, probably wasn't having that same sort of success. So in that role there, like you said, I was able to still find that space where I can stretch teams, but still come in and link up with the midfield and do things that I liked doing on the wing. So I really enjoyed the transition, and obviously had a lot of production throughout last year as well, which is really good.
Yeah, well, like I said, it was a massive change for FK Beograd. And like I said, I think it was a revelation the way you came in and really helped. It helped the way FK Beograd played, and I think also made a big impact into the way they got to finals. So, well done on that, and obviously a great move by Adrian to go, I'm going to throw you through the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's master stroke.
All done from you, Mark? Perfect. Before I go to you, Alessio, I got one late a viewer question for Trimmers from Antoni Natsiopoulos. How late was Antoni for one game at a time today?
Was probably a couple of minutes, but I wasn't the latest. I wasn't the latest.
You weren't. You got here before Mark and Alessio.
Yeah. You were early.
Yeah, I did okay today. You'll be happy to know.
You were early, mate. You got nothing
already
going there.
There's not going to be a fine for that. We've got some horrible fines this year. We're charging by the minute at Beograd this year, and I'm going to just say it now and now. The only reason they're doing that is because they know that I'm going to have to pay those because I'm regularly multiple minutes over, and it's a bias fine they brought in. So yeah, not happy about it, to be honest, at all.
Well, it's a start to improving your reputation, at least for this. Alessio, I'll go to you.
Yeah, I've got two questions each, I guess. For Adrian first, I just wanted to get like a bit of background into, as a coach, what the feelings are like on a weekend. Like, what's the biggest high you can feel as a coach, or you do feel as a coach on a weekend, or if it's during training, or if it's when the boys walk out, when a goal goes in. What's kind of like the major moments that you feel as a coach so far that you've achieved?
I've always said I want to improve players. That's probably the biggest thing. And if I can improve, especially more so the younger players who are still in their formative years, if I can improve each player 10%, then naturally the team's going to become better. So, I do a lot of individual video analysis with players, probably weekly. Not so much with the established players like Trimmers and a couple of the older ones, but more so the younger ones. And if you're showing them things and they're listening and doing it in training and in games, that's probably the most satisfying. Yeah. I mean, naturally results will come if you do that. Results put us all in a better mood, but I always say to the players, and Trimmers will test them at that, we should never get too high on our wins and never get too low on our losses. So I try to really be quite neutral as a coach, and I think it rubs off on the players, yeah.
And the other one's a bit more of a fun one. I just saw on the news just earlier that it was reported that Aussies will pay $12 for a coffee in the next 5 years. I know you're in the coffee business, Adrian, and I was wondering if there was a coffee machine in the change rooms there at FK Beograd. I know a couple of the boys frequent some cafes, but do you introduce any of your coffee background to the boys in the change room as well?
They're costing me an arm and a leg with coffee because I have to supply it for free, obviously. So I think the team manager said we're doing about $30-40 a week, so not great. Nah, it was funny because when it was long weekend a couple of weeks ago, I got my double shot oat latte. It was $8.50. I was like, wow, what's going on here? But it's coffee price is just going through the roof, and hopefully not to $12 though. I can tell you that.
And yeah, now for Antoni as well. Just I wanted to ask for any highlights specifically of your career so far that maybe are not as, I don't know the word, like not as typical of a player, like not just a debut or playing in a grand final or something. If it was something you achieved in a game that you really remember as a turning point in your career, or scored a hat trick in a game or scored a couple on your left foot, if that was a weak point, what was kind of a highlight that might not be so typical for a player who played at the top level in multiple competitions?
Yeah, it's a good question, actually. It's kind of got me stumped a little bit. Kind of like, I think, yeah, I don't know. In terms of like, not as significant as a debut, but something a bit smaller that you'd say was somewhat pivotal. You're saying sort of within my career.
Yeah. So if you just like remembered a game where you'd scored one goal every now and then, or that kind of thing, and then you went on a run, or you scored your first hat trick, something that like was a turning point for you. Like, I can do this. I'm at the top level. And I'm performing now. So
yeah, no, it's actually good point. I'd probably like, I think. Yeah, it's probably, I'd say maybe last year and probably the, later years of my career and my playing time, where I hadn't really been as probably prolific from a goal scoring standpoint for a while. As a winger, I'd always like get a lot of assists, but it's not really a stat that's counted much. So from a goal standpoint, yeah, I think probably just, going on the run and starting to score goals. I think last year, maybe, I think it was the goal against Raiders. It was like a header, and I think that had superseded, all my season sort of best previously. And it was kind of just like I don't know, something just like mentally and being like, well, I finally now got past, that goal amount. I think it was 6 goals or 5 goals or something like that. And I was like, well, now I can just push forward, and that's now off my back sort of thing. So I think that probably that, moment there, and getting past probably that 5-6 goal mark. I can't remember what the one it was, but and then just going forward and continuing on with that. So that would probably be it.
And then want to ask to most of our guests as well, best players you've played with across your career, or maybe even played against, but just some of the highlight ones that I guess we'd like to hear as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like one in Italy that I got to train with, which is like, it was a really kind of a bigger name now, is like Matteo Politano. He plays at is at Napoli now. So I got to play or like train with him while I went over to Italy to trial the first time. But being back in Australia and obviously the Adelaide setup, there was obviously Karuska, Chidior then, incredible players. Craig Goodwin, obviously he's pretty famous, Socceroo. But in the local leagues, I would say Lukas Klimek, like incredible player. Like, I know obviously a legend at Croydon, but when you actually play with him, you see like how high quality he is. He's been incredible. Alex Mullen, obviously as well, playing with him. There's just kind of some of the names there that probably I've played with that have just been like, they're just top line, top quality professionals, even at the local level, and obviously been pretty emphatic across their careers. So probably those two.
I guess a small one just to finish off. I know you've achieved a lot of things in the past, different clubs, different levels as well. Is there any achievements you're still looking at to get to personally and as a team wise as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've never won an NPL championship before. So I think that for me before finishing up would be like, absolutely. That would finish off, I think, for me, a great time playing. Success is obviously ultimately what you look back on and you're like, did I ever achieve that? And I think I'd still be happy, looking back and being like, I still had a fairly good time playing, enjoying it, looking at, all the relationships I've made and stuff like that. But to look back and to not have, silverware in amongst all those years, that would be somewhat disappointing. So I think, winning a league or even winning a cup competition this year, with Beograd would be something pretty special.
That's all from me. Also, I think you were robbed of the Melter last year too. So next.
David, to you.
Okay, I got a couple of quick, serious questions. Antoni, I've just looked up your Wikipedia page. I presume you maintain this yourself, but it's only got Sorry. It's only got 2 sentences. It basically says you're an Australian professional footballer who plays as a striker for Adelaide United and previously played with Perugia in Italy. So there's only 2 sentences there. I just wondered if you could expand a little bit on your experience in playing in Italy. How was that? What age were you when you were there, and so on?
Yeah, absolutely. So I went across with a couple of other boys. There was Brad Corbo, who for trials initially, Brad Corbo, we were both at Sassy. And then Summered Altendug, who's now with Cove, and another guy called Jacob Hanley, and Diego Pellegrini took us over for trials with a few City A clubs and a City B club, and Perugia, who were in 3rd division at the time in City C. And me and Summered were both signed, or they offered us contracts to come back and play with Perugia the following year. So when we went back, I was 16, he was 15. So I did a year there. He came back a little bit earlier and ended up coming back to play with Brisbane more in the youth. And then after my year there, I then came back and I was doing some training with the youth team in the off season, kind of the Christmas break. And Mickey Valkanis kind of convinced me to stay and just said, I think you better place with the youth team, and then stayed on. And ended up playing a couple of games with the senior team probably about a year later. Made my debut against the Newcastle Jets away. So, yeah, that was a really cool moment.
Okay, that's cool. You do need to update your Wikipedia page, though, because it's about 10 years out of date, mate. So
I don't know. I used to be on it a bit more frequently and updating it. But, yeah, I think I just wanted to leave those 2 lines. So everyone just knows me as I played for those 2 clubs and thinks what a glittering career. Yeah.
Adrian, just going to ask you a little bit about the youngsters at the club. So you've got, we were talking off air earlier about how you've got such a young group, and there was a young kid who made his debut. Oh gosh, I know it. I've lost the page. Yanni Tsalofos. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I probably didn't. He came on 16 years of age, only just turned 16 years of age. He came on in your game against Para Hills Knights, and obviously just wanted to know a little bit more about how the youth are developing there. I mean, it seems to be a young squad and a young 16-year-old kid coming on as well. Very impressive. So yeah, how is the youth system there at FK Beograd, and have you got more of them coming through?
Yeah, we do. Look, Yanni's one of a few that regularly train with us. Probably he's the youngest because he just turned 16. But yeah, since the start of preseason, he's been with us nearly every session and played a lot of trial games for us, scored a few goals in the seniors. So yeah, it was a moment where we could have given him his debut. He deserved it, and he did quite well. And we do have a few others as well. My bench in the last 3 or the first 3 games have been 16 and 17-year-olds, basically. So Jordan Lean, 17, Zach Kosic, 17, Peter Palacios, 17. Yanni last week was on the bench. So, yeah, we do have a very young squad. And, yeah, the more they train with us, the better. The more development us as coaches do with them and more time we put into them, the better for them. But like most coaches say, they are very good kids, and that's the only real reason they're there. They're not arrogant. They're not cocky. They know they have a long way to go. But honestly, I'm not just saying it because he's on the podcast, but Trimmers is excellent with the young boys at the club. You regularly see him after training talking to the young boys, and Andoni and Lorenzo, exactly the same. Massimo, Falco, they're regularly talking to the boys, and that's what you want from your leaders at the club. So, yeah, look, the future's definitely bright. This year, a few of them will get fast-tracked just due to having a few long-term injuries with our squad, which we hope to get back soon. But until then, yeah, it's one of the most pleasing things as a coach when you can give a kid their debut or a player their debut, especially at 16, 17. Yeah.
And also just quickly stepping out as an assistant to Michael Matriciani for so long. I don't know what's ever happened to him. He's just sort of disappeared off the planet a little bit. But stepping out from working as his assistant and into being a head coach at NPL level, how did you find that? Was that daunting for you, or was it something you just took in your stride, you're quite comfortable with immediately, or how did that work out?
Honestly, I was asked that a lot about 2 years ago, and it was the most seamless thing that I've ever done. and I give Michael credit for that, and also Brenton Hearn, who was kind of part of our coaching group, giving me a lot of guidance at the time. But then the last year at Campbelltown in 2023, Michael gave me more and more reins, and I think he did it on purpose, that he knew I was getting more and more ready, taking a lot of trainings, doing some video analysis with the team. And there was one game he was doing his license in Melbourne, and I actually had to coach the team. Luckily, we won. So I was really ready because I had that 3 or 4 years as an assistant. And I know I can't talk highly enough of doing your time as an assistant, because you literally will make less mistakes as a coach, and you're just more prepared, I think, because coaching senior football has a lot of challenges, and it's not just rock up at 6:30 at night and leave at 8. It's a 24/7 job. You're getting phone calls during the day. You're doing video analysis on Sundays, and you need to do the time before you become a head coach. I think it's what I've learned. Yeah.
Well, I'm just about to announce my quickfire quiz, but before I do that, you're a Napoli fan, aren't you, Adrian?
I am a huge Napoli fan, and I'm very grateful for the Scotsman who won us the title last year, Mr. McTominay.
You're welcome. Best midfielder in the world?
No, but for me he is, but he's probably not the best midfielder in the world. My favourite, but yeah. We did win the Serie A Player of the Year last year, but yeah.
Who do you think's a better midfielder than Scott McTominay right now?
I love Pedri, to be honest, from Barca. I like Rodri as well from Man City, but no, McTominay's up there. He's box to box, he scores goals, he does everything. Yeah.
Well, your own players at the back, I thought they did very well at the weekend. I think as I look back at my commentary notes from that game, I had Theo Milonis along with me. Marco Torriani's done well along in the back, fitted into that gap left by Mr. Banjak. And of course, Cooper Nunn, who I think is probably excelling. Every year I see him, I think the guy's doing a fantastic job for you at the back. And which brings me now round to my quickfire quiz. Do you need the intro now, Seb?
David Grant, Quiz Production.
So the quickfire quiz this week is all on Cooper Nunn. How about that, boys? Who thought, eh? So what I've got for you is 10 questions for each of you on Cooper Nunn. But to make it easy for you, you've only got 60 seconds to answer them. But to make it easy for you, they're just true or false, so you don't have to think too much about it, just a true or a false. So you can go in whichever order you feel comfortable with. I always think the second one who goes has maybe got a bit of advantage because they get to see how the first one went. And I have got a tiebreak in the event that the scores are level after this. But yeah, 10 questions on Cooper Nunn. Who saw that coming? Who would like to go first?
I'll take the hit.
Trim as you can go.
Yeah, I'll go.
Well done, Anthony. Okay, so Alessio's going to keep a score count here as we go through this, and Seb's going to start a timer, and I'm ready anytime you want. You ready, Anthony?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Modbury Jets was his first club as a junior.
False.
Okay. Second question. Cooper's favourite food is dumplings.
False.
Question 3. His first music concert that he went to was Def Leppard.
False.
Cooper went to high school at Cedar College.
False.
Everyone thinks Cooper played soccer in the US, but it was actually Canada that he played in.
False.
He played alongside Villarreal and Ghana player Thomas Partey's younger brother.
False.
He made his NPL debut aged just 16 for Adelaide United NPL.
True.
His favourite boots are Nike Tiempos.
That's false.
He can do a Rubik's Cube.
True.
And the last question, which I'll just get in because I got in before it finished there. Cooper's pre-match superstition is to slap a teammate's thigh.
It's true.
Okay. All right. Alessio, if you had a chance, don't announce how many you got, but have you had a chance to write them all down?
Yeah, I've got all the answers, true and false, and I think you did get all 10. So
Oh, okay.
we
All
got
right,
like
now we
through all
move on
10,
to
not all
Adrian.
10 right, but yeah.
He answered all 10, but yeah, okay, right, cool. Adrian, you ready for your questions on
Ready to
Cooper
go.
Nunn? Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Modbury Vista was his first club as a junior.
False.
Cooper's favourite food is actually pasta, not dumplings.
True.
His first music concert was Taylor Swift.
False.
Cooper went to high school at Gleeson College.
False.
In Canada, Cooper played alongside Taylor Swift's younger brother, Austin, who was a striker.
False.
Cooper won a national championship, the USL2, in the United States with Seacoast United.
True.
He made his NPL debut when he was 16, but not for Adelaide United, it was for Modbury Jets.
True.
Cooper's favourite boots are Asics Lethal Flash.
Wouldn't have a clue, but I'll say false.
Cooper can juggle.
True.
Okay. I did have a 10th question, but I've run out of time, so I'll ask Alessio to tell us what scores the two combatants got.
So wait, have I got to look at
I had one
the
less question, so it doesn't really
answers?
help.
Well, while Alessio's just tallying that up for us, I'll tell you what question 10 would have been, Adrian, had you got to it. Cooper's pre-match superstition is to rub a teammate's hands in glee.
Nah, false. Good questions, though.
Pre-mark that last one, H.
Yeah, probably.
And now follows a slightly awkward silence while we.
I was gonna fill that because there was a couple of things I wanted to know actually from the two of you guys, Anthony and Adrian. I noticed, Adrian, you dropped your coffee order in tonight. Just wondering, is that for anyone in particular? Like, have you got to meet with someone coming up that you like drop that coffee order so they bring it into the train room?
Oh,
like
yeah. Yeah, they should be serving me coffee, but you know
the boys not looking after you, mate.
Yeah. You know the youngsters of today. No
right,
respect.
The youngsters that are watching, there you go. There's the coffee order. Trimmers, question for you is, do you not do Adrian said you don't need to do the video analysis because you're a little bit older. Is it because you're actually just not going to rock up because you're going to be that late, or is it just because you don't need them? And Adrian knows that you're just not going to get there.
Be political.
No, he never misses video analysis. I'll give him.
No, I don't miss video. Don't miss video. I've got there maybe once or twice in it, but I will always watch it afterwards if I do miss it for whatever reason that is. Yeah, can always watch more video. It's always helpful.
That's true. That's very true. That's why I don't watch any of our shows, just in case I find all the faults that I make. So make me look even worse than what I actually do.
Oh, you only want to hear about the good part stuff. That's you don't want to hear about the bad stuff.
No, exactly. That's why I never hear anything, because there's never anything good from my end. So it's all.
Alessio, any updates?
He's still working it out.
It looks like I'm pretty sure I've got it right. I think Adrian won 5-4.
Right.
David, do you want to run through the correct answers?
Coffee's on you tomorrow night, Trimmers.
I'll give you the true answer. So Modbury Vista was Cooper Nunn's first club when he was a junior. His favourite food is dumplings. The first concert he went to wasn't Taylor Swift, it was Def Leppard. He went to Gleeson College when he went to high school. He played alongside Villarreal and Ghana player Thomas Partey's younger brother, not Taylor Swift's younger brother. He made his NPL debut when he was 16 for Adelaide United's youth team, not, as I'd suggested, Modbury Jets. His favourite boots are Nike Tiempos, which I think I was surprised at that. I think Antony, because I think you got that one wrong. I thought, oh, you would know what boots he
All he
likes.
wears is like Under Armour though. That's why I was like, it can't be Nike Tempo. He never wears Nike Tempo.
That's what I would have thought too.
That I know. So I was like, oh, well, that's a surefire win for me. But sorry, go on.
He can juggle, but he can't do a Rubik's Cube, or at least he didn't tell me he could do a Rubik's Cube. And the two pre-match superstitions I threw in there, one was slapping a teammate's thigh, and the other one was rubbing a teammate's hands in glee, were both false. So, anyway, there we go. A little bit of fun. And Adrian's a winner.
It was a good quiz. It was a good
He
quiz.
can always start. He can always start that tradition, David. If you've given him the inspiration.
Swimmers, watch
You should do it
out.
this weekend and
Watch
see if you
out.
win. Keep doing it.
Yeah, cover your thighs.
Cooper thing to do. That one I was sure of.
Did he win the championship in America?
He did with Seacoast United.
Yeah, I
Did I
thought
miss
so.
that one? Sorry. Yeah,
that's
so
right.
Seacoast United played USL 2, which I think is the third tier there. But it's regionalised, so it was based in New England. I think his team was based in one of the New England states.
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect. Thank you for that, David. Great as always. And thank you to both you, Antony and Adrian, for joining us. Pleasure to have the both of you. Good luck for this weekend and for the rest of the season, of course. But yeah, thank you again for both of you for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. And keep up the excellent work you do for the game. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
you. I
guys.
wouldn't
Thank
call
you.
it excellent, but thank you. Perfect. Yeah, thanks again to both of them. And yeah, good luck for Beograd for Friday. All right, we will go on to the week that was, going through the results. State League 2, of course, kicked off over the weekend in the North. Elizabeth Grove winning 2-1 over Port Adelaide. Salisbury Inter 2-0 over new club Anglevale. Another new club in Barossa being beaten 3-0 at Pontian. Northern Demons with a big 3-1 win over Modbury Vista. Elizabeth Downs coming into the league, a 2-0 win over Gula. Then in the south, Mount Barker and Noarlunga playing out, I'm sure, what was a thrilling 0-0 draw. Adelaide Uni winning 5-1 over Plimpton Bulldogs. Seaford losing 4-2 at home to Western Strikers. Vipers in their first game in State League 2 beating Garn United 1-0 away. And Adelaide Titans with a 2-1 win over Adelaide Hills Hawks. I guess, Alessio, we'll start with you in your, I'm sure, what was a glamorous game.
Yeah, I mean, I just couldn't believe the drastic difference in weather, to be honest. I mean, that Friday night game was, I reckon, 15 or 16 degrees. It was super windy. It was probably, I would say it was more disappointing for Noarlunga that they didn't get more than 1 point in that game. I think they had the better of the opportunities throughout the 90. And I think they hit the post twice. Our goalkeeper made some excellent 1v1 saves, and we didn't really test their goalkeeper. He had a few at him on target, but not very lethal. Decent point for, I guess, both of us. Them a tough away trip and us to start some good home form. Otherwise, yeah, and then on a Saturday for the reserves game, it was so hot I got blisters on my feet from how hot it was on that game. So it was just crazy weather comparisons there. And the other games, I would probably talk about, I think I'll leave Seaford for Mark, Hawks for David. So I could do the Plimpton versus Adelaide Uni game, which was, a commanding win from them. I talked to some of their players as well, I'm good friends with as well. And there was an opportunity for a hat trick for Liam Killick, who scored 2 in the game. And apparently he hit the post. And his coach there, Valentino Esposito, is not going to let him live that one down because he wasn't actually the penalty taker, but he took it for his hat trick and he missed. But yeah, commanding win for them. Unfortunate for Plimpton. They got a late goal in that game, consolation goal by Nataphilis. But yeah, I guess the two I'll talk from there, and then I'll leave the other two for the rest.
David, I'll go to you next then.
Yes. I didn't take in any State League 2 games, North or South. I did see that Elizabeth Downs coming onto the park being piped on. That's the only thing I really saw of State League 2. But I can mention that the Hawks were 1-0 down with 2 minutes to go, pulled one back to level it at 1-1, and then conceded a goal a minute later. So they lost the game 2-1 with 2 very late goals in that match. Not the start I suppose they would have been hoping for. They'd maybe be a bit disappointed with that. but they've got a chance to redeem themselves against Vipers at the weekend. But yeah, I didn't see the game, and you brought it up, but yeah, sorry, that's all I've got.
That's fine. Mark, unless you have anything more to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add how great their content has been, Titans. I mean, they had their live stream last year, I remember, for a couple of games. They even do it for the reserves too. But now they've introduced some official, shall we say, live commentary. I know there was some in the background of a few of their live streams over the past year, but officially now it seems like they've got a couple of guys on board to have live play-by-play commentators, which is great. I mean, we saw it happen for Eastern United in the State League too, and we've seen some other teams, I think, dabble with some live streams. But yeah, it's great to see a young team like them doing that as well. And I thought, a few players of ours actually went out to that game later on, and they said it was quite an even affair, to be honest. Neither team looked poor. Obviously, the wind is a big debate there at West Beach, but I think both teams were in the game, and there were some cracking goals there, especially that Hawks one right at the end.
Mark, to you finally.
I'll just quickly cover across the Seaford Strikers game. We thought that I think we've all got them both to finish relatively high in their respective leagues. A good early marker for Western Strikers coming away with a 4-2 win. Did surprise me. They were 3-0 up in the first half, and then Seaford getting 2 goals back, or one, and then making it 4-1, and then a late goal again. But surprisingly on the score sheet is someone that doesn't probably score as many goals as he probably would like to, is Liam Wooding. So obviously good for him to get on the score sheet, but a little bit disappointing there for Seaford. But it's a long season, obviously. It's only round 1. On the north side, Northern Demons, as we said, I think probably the biggest win out of that against Morrie Vista. We've all got Vista to do well this year. Northern Demons, I expect them to do relatively well with the signings that they made in the off season. So they've got off to a great start at home. We all thought the new clubs would struggle. I thought they'd struggle a little bit. Being their first game, a lot of energy towards it beforehand and things like that. And obviously, Demons, I think, were the only ones to come out with a win of the new sides. So great result for them. But like I said, the other two new clubs, Anglevale and Barossa, are coming up against 2 sort of stalwarts over the last couple of years that have been pushing, or in Ponzin's case, coming down. I get tough teams to play against in their first game, so they'll have a lot to take away from that. And I think the other game, Elizabeth Grove, massive win for the Grove. I think we all picked Port to get the result there, but Friday night down all the way, sort of say, up at the Grove, and yeah, they come away with a great result.
Yeah, absolutely. With that, we'll go on to the WSL. For round 3, Adelaide Jaguars with a 2-1 win over Western Strikers. Adelaide City beating Elizabeth Grove 4-2. South Adelaide a 5-2 win over Mulberry Jets, and Sturt Lions continuing their good form and winning 4-0 over Cove FC. David, to you.
Yeah. So I was at Adelaide City covering the men's game, and when that concluded, I went over to the artificial pitch on the other side just to watch a little bit of Adelaide City's game with Elizabeth Grove. I actually left after about maybe half an hour, 20 minutes. I had another appointment to get to, by which time Adelaide City were 2-0 up, and they were looking quite good. They were looking quite comfortable. I think they were dealing quite well with Elizabeth Grove as they came forward. Melville Ipasu scored very early on in the 3rd minute. There was a suggestion of a handball in the lead up to it, but after the referee had consulted his assistant, decided to award it. Amber May Smith made it 2-0 in the 13th minute. By all accounts, they were cruising, but I think second half maybe sort of found it a little bit harder going. Elizabeth Grove pulled 2 goals back in that second half. Cassie Webb and Alia Stentiford were the 2 goal scorers for Grove in the second half. And then right at the very end of play, Amber May Smith scored her second in the 90th minute, so it was 2-2 after 90 minutes, and then Smith scored to make it 3-2. And then Natalie Francis, you've got the video now, I can look at this one. So Natalie Francis scored this little goal that she picked the ball up inside her own half and went on a run, took the ball out sort of wide to the left, and then went right up to the edge of the box. Obviously, I think if you're playing in that position and you end up if you end up in that position, you generally only have one thing in your mind. I've done all this work. I'm not going to pass this one off. So she's put the ball away from fairly close range, but it started the run in her own half. So well done, Natalie Francis, a player who was struggling to get first team football last year, but she was very impressive in the games I've seen. I saw her in that game for, as I say, 20 minutes, half an hour, and also watched a little bit of Adelaide City a few weeks ago, and she was playing then. She looked good. So that's Adelaide City keeping the pressure on Sturt Lions. Sturt Lions with a 4-0 win over Cove. I think we all thought Cove might have got a goal or two. We're expected a bit more from Cove this year than we saw last year, but a big challenge for them going up to Sturt, up at Carina there, and going down 4-0. The other game, I suppose, that kind of stood out for me was Modbury Jets losing to South Adelaide 5-2. We kind of, I can't remember what our preview predictions were, but I think we all sort of felt that Modbury Jets might do okay, and South Adelaide is a team that has struggled in the past, and we sort of thought again that this year they might struggle a little bit, but South are actually, they've had one win which has taken them up to 5th on the table. But Modbury Jets, the only team in the WSL yet to have a win. They started off the season with a draw. That was a 2-2 draw away at Jaguars, and then they've lost their second 2 games away to Western Strikers, and then this one away to South Adelaide. So not a great start from Modbury Jets, who find themselves bottom of the table. And Cove, we just thought, beating Sturt's a big ask, but we thought they might have got a goal or two in that one, and they didn't. But at the top, Sturt Lions still 3 wins, unbeaten so far. They're the only team now in the WSL unbeaten. Adelaide City second on 6 points, so 3 points behind them, just with that one loss, which was the opening round against Sturt. And then Elizabeth Grove. But Elizabeth Grove have got Sturt next, so that'll be interesting to see what happens there. Sturt win that one, and if Adelaide City win their game, there'll be a bit of a gap starts to open up between the top 2 and the rest of the table. It's only round 4, we're a long way to go, but that's your WSL roundup for this week.
Yeah, 3 rounds this weekend to be 4 have gone by very quickly already. So, crazy. State League 1 for their round 3. Cumberland, a 2-0 loss at home to Adelaide Cobras. Olympic 2-1 over Eastern. Atletico, a massive 3-0 win over Fulham. Fulham also getting a red card too. Modbury 5-0 over Cove. South Adelaide losing 3-2 to Adelaide Croatia Raiders. And Salisbury United coming back into a bit of form, winning 2-1 over Blue Eagles. Alessio, where do you want to go?
I guess I'll start with the team that loves me the most at the moment, Cobras. 3 wins from 3, winning in the cup as well. They're really proving a lot of people wrong at the moment. I know they've played some teams in not the greatest of form in Cumberland, South Adelaide. I can't remember who they played in their first game, but they're scoring the goals. And I guess we've all seen this week on Football SA's socials, the Thierry Henry finish there from Harpers, which was just about caught on some cameras. I think they had to get the VO footage to confirm it, but what a goal from him there. And then a late goal here as well, 10 minutes from time, really sealed things up. But they're on a great run at the moment, Cobras, and maybe the signings they made in the off-season, some of the imports as well, have been really paying off. And they're just proving everyone wrong at the moment. And I guess the other team I'd like to talk about as well is Adelaide Atletico. A massive win there. Another bunch of fantastic goals they scored down there as well. And against a hotly favoured Fulham United side, which, we had all predicted for the last couple of years to do some strong things. And a second home game, for Atletico at home, and they super subs, the Titani. I think they're brothers. Both of them came on and scored the goals to win the game late on. And there were some fantastic finishes as well, to be honest. And from what I could see on the footage, and I knew a couple of players there as well, it seemed like they got a great atmosphere there as well. There was a bunch in the stands. I'm not sure if they're the reserves or other players at the club, but they went to go celebrate with them every time. And even on the other side where the bench was, there was a bit of a crowd forming as well, getting ready for those guys to come off the bench. So I guess the coach there has got some questions about some lineup changes maybe to make in the next couple of weeks, because I think they scored previously off the bench in a couple of other games last season, and definitely maybe at the start of this season too. So they've got a big squad there that's performing, and that's a massive win to show how good they are ahead of the rest of the league at the moment. And yeah, I guess we'll pass on the rest of the others.
Yeah, just on Atletico as well. It's a ground I think that at least before the end of the season I wouldn't mind doing a game at. Definitely, it's almost a historic ground in a way in the state. A lot of clubs have gone through that. I remember when I was younger, my brother was playing there for Enfield, and I have a lot of fond memories being 3 or 4 years old and climbing underneath the bleachers and finding weird bugs and stuff. So yeah, no, definitely a ground I'd like to go back to. And like you said, the atmosphere seems great.
Almost heritage just that it's that old.
Yeah. Mark, we'll go on to you as well.
I'll quickly go through a couple of the other games. Murray Jets up against Cove. Cove have done well in the past, especially last week. Come up against the Murray Jets side who looked fantastic. I did catch a little bit of this game. Hamish McCabe with 2, Lachlan Wilson with 2, and then an own goal at the end. But this is the kind of Mobbery I was expecting to see this year. Hamish again with that one very subdued goal celebration. I don't know if he's doing his goal celebration each week where each goal was something different, but very subdued for him. But Cove, to be honest, looked outplayed in that game. And I think it obviously showed in the result in the end, but very early goal. Cove weren't able to match that in the end and went down 5-0, which is quite a heavy loss for them. I wouldn't have thought it would have been as big as it was, but it was 4-0 by half time. So, obviously the second half was just to make sure you don't concede and go from there. So, great result for Mobbery. Cove, like I said, they'll just chalk that up to a bad day out and look to pick it up next week. The other game we'll talk about South Adelaide against Adelaide Raiders, or Croatia Raiders. Croatia Raiders 3-0 in the end. Relatively comfortable day for them across the game. Some simple errors from South causing goals, and Raiders certainly made them pay the price for them, to be honest. So 2-0 by half time, and South's now 3 from 3, 10 goals conceded, are already fighting an uphill battle to sort of make their mark on the league and get some points. So it's not going to be easy for South, and they've got a lot of work to do to get themselves out of the current sort of form slump that they've continued in from last year, to be honest, where they obviously struggled. They survived on the last day last year against Pontians, so we'll keep an eye on that one. And I can talk about Salisbury and Blue Eagles if needs be, if no one else wants to jump on that one.
David, do you want to, or are you going to let Mark flow?
He's doing very well, isn't he? I think we should encourage him.
I think Salisbury getting the 2-1 win over Blue Eagles. Jacob Jones scoring quite sort of 15 minutes in, and then I think we give Bucco the name Mr. Adelaide City. I think we could probably give this guy the name of Mr. Salisbury, and that's their captain in Matty Taylor. He back from injury and scored an absolute. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on his goal.
Not a cross?
When you see it, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I would probably lean slightly towards more of a cross. But anyway, I'll like I said, Mr. Salisbury can he can say he had the shot. Dante scoring for Blue Eagles. It doesn't help Blue Eagles. They're now sitting in ninth. They have got a game in hand against Adelaide Olympic, which was abandoned due to an injury the other week. And I have heard that the player that did get injured that week, Declan, it was his knee, but I've heard, and unless I can confirm this, but I've heard it's nothing serious, no major damage, but he'll be out for a couple of months, which is silver linings. I think it's good news that it's nothing serious and he's going to be able to make a full comeback relatively a lot sooner than what it would be if it was a serious knee injury. And then obviously Adelaide Olympic beating Eastern United 2-1. Eastern United probably finding it a little bit harder than what they maybe thought to when they're coming back into it. Olympic getting, they're now 2 from 2. Again, obviously they've only played 2 games. They haven't played that third one, which is against Adelaide Blue Eagles. Pudler getting on the score sheet again. I think that's probably his second penalty this year. And to be honest, Pala's not going to miss many from the spot, that's for sure. And then one of the imports for Eastern United in Koyanagi is getting his first goal. So, like I said, Olympic getting off to a great start for the season.
Absolutely. We'll go on to the WNPL, and I will just say as well, looking at for the Asian Cup final on Saturday, Japan currently up 2-0 against South Korea. So we're looking at a Japan-Australia final, which is to be frightened of. To round 2 of the WNPL SA, West Adelaide having a massive 5-1 win over Metro Stars. Football SA 2-1 over West Torrens Burkalla. Salisbury Inter 2-1 over Campbelltown, coming from a goal deficit. Late drama between Flinders and Modbury, having a 2-2 draw there. And Adelaide Comets 3-2 over Adelaide University. I suppose I can go. I had 2 of the games. I was at Kilburn on Friday for the West Adelaide versus Metro Stars. After some technical difficulties for the first 20 minutes, the broadcast started, but there was a goal before the camera even came on through Victoria Costanzo. And overall, it was just really what you expect from a team like West Adelaide. Metro, I think, for the players they have and the quality you think of these players, I was probably a bit disappointed from at least a viewing side of seeing them in action. And it's 2 losses from 2 in their first 2 rounds, and they've got Uni this weekend. I just think they might find it a bit difficult in the next few weeks. A few things just aren't clicking, and especially, again, against a side like West Adelaide, where they're just always sort of firing on all cylinders regardless, even if I think they actually thought, a few of the players, I was speaking to a few after, they felt a bit frustrated after the game because they felt that they didn't play as well as they could. So it shows you the standards and also sort of what they expect from themselves. But yeah, all in all, a dominant performance from West Adelaide, and the only goal for Metro coming through Victoria Manspota, their only goal from their first 2 games of the season. And then on Saturday, I was at Adelaide Comets for Adelaide Comets versus Adelaide University. Overall, again, Uni were the better of the 2 sides, I think, over the course of the 90 minutes. Chinatsu Kaio, probably the player of the match, and Alana Fitzsimmons, I think she scored here and she came off 7 minutes later. I think if she had stayed on, it's almost a domino effect. I think if she'd stayed on as a first point, they would have stuck with 3 points. But she came off, they brought on one of their new signings in Samantha Maudsley, and then she got sent off. So the sort of domino effect of Alana Fitzsimmons coming off and then the being down to 10 really hurt them, I think, in the end. And I think it was a matter of Uni had a lot more of the ball and they were the dominant side over the course of the 90. But Comets were just so clinical in any opportunity they had. Chrissy Panagaris, very, very good. Kylie Pridham, very, very impressive. Her goal was so composed on the turn. Really just brilliant from, I think she's 15 years old, and they had a 14-year-old in Tambakis as well, a very, very young team, Adelaide Comets. But yeah, all in all, I thought Uni were the better side, but Comets in the end just shining through with their quality. And I still think Uni will be okay this season, as long as they can sort of keep this week, this past week, better and just sort of taking their chances. And that's the red card, which I was sort of confused about at the time. And to be honest, I'm still a little bit confused as to why it was a red card. But yeah, in the end, that was my experience at Adelaide Comets and also West Adelaide. David, anything for you?
You remarked on the late drama between Flinders United and Modbury Vista.
I did.
So I was just going to touch on that. Our old pal Vicky Juma. I say our old pal. She's got no idea who we are, but we were admirers of her last year at Adelaide City. But she's off the mark in this year's WNPL. She scored in the 11th minute a penalty. Then Ella Smith, Modbury Vista's taliswoman, if that's the right term, pulled one back in the 65th minute to make it 1-0. But there was late drama there. Flinders United scored what they would have thought would have been the winner in the 92nd minute through their captain Bethany Beale. So 92 minutes that happened, and then in the 94th minute, Ariana Monderi scored for Modbury Vista to make it 2-2. So very late drama, injury time drama, if you like. But Vista, 2 draws in their first season back up in the WNPL in a number of years. They've never won a WNPL game. Of course, we're all waiting for that win to finally come in. It's yet to come, but when it comes, there'll be big celebrations on their part and hearty congratulations from us. So yet to lose a game after 2, but yet to win a game. I'm thinking they're probably quite happy with the way things have gone in those first 2 games, but they'll be desperate to get, or keen, should I say, to get their first win. But I think that's just about all from me. I was just going to add on to that. There are 3 teams in the WNPL yet to lose a game. So West Adelaide, of course, scored 9, conceded just 2. Salisbury Inter second, scored 6 and conceded 1. And Football NTC sit in third just now. They've had a win and a draw, so they're on 4 points, but they're in third spot. They're the 3 undefeated sides. Football NTC play Campbelltown at Steve Woodcock this Saturday early evening. I think it's a 5 o'clock kickoff. And if they can get a win from there and keep the pressure on the top 2, who knows? Maybe NTC will do a lot better than we had anticipated and predicted. So yeah, that's it for me.
I was just going to add about predictions. It's again, going off this week, impossible to predict, especially Mark. I guess I'll go to you on this. Berkala losing to NTC after a great performance last week, and Campbelltown losing again to what seems to be a very good Salisbury Inter side this year.
Yeah, well, the Football SA NTC, they played Berks this weekend, and especially the way Berks played the week before, and Vogelsang getting a hat-trick, we all thought that Berks would come out and continue that form. So I know Mitch won't be happy with the performance and the fact that they conceded 2 goals. They were down, and coming in from a game where they dominated last week, I think he'll be disappointed in that regard. But again, it's something that Mitch is a new coach to this level. He's normally worked with juniors, so it's something new for him. Whereas you're coming up against a younger squad, but a coach like Michele Lestella, who's been at that level for such a long time, been so consistent. It's a bit of almost a battle of the coaches at times. So yeah, look, great result for the NTC, undefeated now in 2. So yeah, massive result for them. Berks go back to the drawing board. They were a little bit hit and miss in pre-season as well, so I'm wondering if that's going to continue into the league. And Salisbury Inter against Campbelltown. I thought Campbelltown would be in a better position than what they are so far this year. Again, they've lost now the first 2 games. Salisbury Inter are flying at the moment, winning their first 2 games. So it's one of those things where it's going to be an interesting one for Campbelltown, because they were in a similar position last year. Then they turned things around with some signings halfway through the year, and obviously went on to make finals. Salisbury Inter always been there or thereabouts. They have been for many years, and I think they're just really working well as a team and just being able to finish. I think being clinical is probably one of the biggest keys, obviously, in any league. But they're proving to be a very dominant side. They've started off really well, which is last year they didn't start as well either, and then they found form. But this year they've started like a house on fire, and Carl Maynard's got them obviously working very well, and yeah, they're reaping the benefits at the moment.
Inter versus West Adelaide this week. Very, very exciting to see that one play out on Friday night. Definitely the game of the round, I think. Finally, on to the men's NPL. West Torrens Berkala, another game with late drama, 3-2 over Campbelltown. FK Beograd, we spoke about earlier, 5-0 over Parry Hills. West Adelaide, 3-0 over Adelaide Comets. Adelaide City and United having a 2-2 draw. Sturt narrowly going down 1-0 to Metro Stars. And Playford, I guess we'll sort of start on then, 2-0 over Croydon. Are they a sneaky shout for the title, Mark?
Well, the current form, but you are only 3 rounds in, so let's. I think we've all got them in to play finals. So this form is kind of in line with that, but I think they will certainly make finals, and if they continue this form, then yeah, because like I said, they've got a great squad, they've got some great players, they've got not only have they got a great squad, but they've got players that can be match winners as well. When you've got the likes of Mullen and to be honest, captain and who had to step into big shoes when Ryan left in Christos Pounendis. So they've got a really good, like I said, really good squad. The coach has built something fantastic down there. So look, like I said, 3 games in, they're undefeated. They're at 9 points, sit top of the table. So they've got a great opportunity to play finals and that. But at the moment, I'm not going to get into drawing into who's going to win the league after 3 rounds. It's still a long way to go. But like I said, I've got them to play finals because I think they are a very good side and they will obviously play finals and be up there. So it's a great start for them, and long may it continue. And we'll just see how it goes because, like I said, I think they're a good side. They've got a great group and a really good coaching setup there.
I was trying to get a sneaky soundbite from you, Mark, there, but you didn't buy it.
Not just yet. I'll save those, and while I'm on, I'll continue on the 2 other games that I was actually on this week, the weekend just gone. I was on the Stirtline versus Metro Stars game at Carina Reserve. Metro coming away with the 1-0 win. Neon Kuru scoring in the 15th minute. Metro probably had the better of the chances over the course of the game. Sturt, for me, I think they just, in the first half, they were much better in the second half, but I think in the first half they were very content in sitting back. They weren't very adventurous. They just didn't play with courage in that first half. And I think if they did, they could have actually got something out of the game. I think Metro at the moment, yes, they're a good side, but I think they're beatable. We've already seen that obviously once this year. But I think so. They were a little in that first half for a little bit. I said unadventurous. They weren't courageous. Second half, they made a change. They brought Diamantis on at halftime, and he really changed the game for Sturt. He was a big influence in that second half. He hit an absolute rasping drive volley that rattled the crossbar. Cody Ostrike had a 1 save to make as well. But overall, Metro probably just had done enough to win the game. I thought Francesca really was a really good midfield battle actually over the whole. And Moroni for Sturt was just fantastic at the back, as you'd expect. But I mean, he's 40 now and he's still putting performances like that in, which was great to see. The other game I then was on was the Burkalla Campbelltown game on Friday night at Jack Smith Park. And I'll apologise now to O'Doherty. I was talking to him because the own goal that was scored in the 40th minute was actually Fujinami, not O'Doherty. And it was funny because I did say it during the game because at the time there was just a group of players there, and the cameraman followed O'Doherty, and I was like, oh, it must have been O'Doherty. He was the one that grabbed the ball out of the goal, and I was like, oh, so that's the own goal there. As you can see, it's just a crowd of players, and I was like, I'm not quite sure who that ended up coming off of, but I could see O'Doherty was in the mix. So apologies to O'Doherty. I had a good chat with him after the game. Actually, he was actually really good and really good after the game to have a chat with and stuff like that. But I felt Campbelltown when Campbelltown really attacked at pace, they looked dangerous. But for me, they were just a little bit slow in their build up at times. They did lose 2 players to injuries. They lost Elsie to injury. They also lost Piscineri to injury quite early on in the first half. Great run there as well that unfortunately Jared Clark couldn't do much about. And this is it. This was the equaliser from Mullen in the 86th minute. And then very, very late, 94th minute, I think it was in the end. Could have even been later. George Blackwood, who I thought was brilliant throughout the game. Him and O'Doherty were the 2 standouts. They were absolutely brilliant throughout the whole game. And the ball in from Enigeno and Blackwood just drifting in at the far post, no one following, and he made the game secure at the end there. So Burkalla coming away with the 3 points, but also learning from the week before when they were 2-0 up against Para Hills and effectively threw away the 3 points. So great result for Burkalla. Campbelltown got a little bit of work to do, but they've got things there. They've got players there that can obviously win them games. I just felt when they attacked quickly, they were a different beast, but they just didn't do it enough. That's all from me.
I will go next. I was
I was just going to say, you can be forgiven for getting players mixed up. We've all done it, so don't worry about it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, all good. I'll go next. I was at Kilburn for the second half of that double header we had with the WNPL side. Them against Adelaide Comets. For Adelaide Comets, before the game was sort of a little bit worrying. The lineups came through: no Dorsey, no Gonwikezwa, no Porter, no Luich, and Irabona started on the bench. And it did have me worried for I guess what they had going forward, at least in that aspect. And to be honest, there wasn't a whole lot much of it. I can't remember what the stats were, but going forward, they hardly had many. They didn't have too many shots. West Adelaide, I wouldn't even say they were dominant either, to be honest. It's just that they were able to have the ball more, they got forward more, and they took their chances, including this great free kick from Samopoulos. And a stat which I encountered during my research, of course, Irabona and Labasso, their top goal scorer last year, Irabona second. Between the two of them last year, 76% of Adelaide Comets goals came through the two of them. If you take away Irabona, 42% was just Jaden Labasso. And then from other than those two last year, I think it was about 5 individual players on 1 goal each. So when you don't have Labasso and you've got Irabona on the bench and he only played the last half an hour, I was sort of worried for them from the get-go, and my worries were sort of shown on the night. But for West Adelaide, it's a good first win for them back. They've got a game against Croydon this week as well. So yeah, all in all, a good performance from them, and yeah, a little bit worried about Adelaide Comets, and especially again what they have attacking. Still yet to score their first goal in what is 3 rounds now. So yeah, David, I'll go on to you.
I'll try and get through this quickly. FK Beograd hosting Para Hills Knights was the game I covered on Friday night. A comprehensive win for FK Beograd. I think as Adrian mentioned earlier on, I think the stats showed 22 odd shots on goal from Beograd and just the one from Para Hills Knights. So a very one-sided match. Marco Torriani scoring the first goal, and if you think Alex Samopoulos' free kick for West Adelaide was good, Torriani took 1 or 2 steps to hit that. So for me, that was a fine free kick. They went over to celebrate in the near side, and I must ask their forgiveness because they raised the number 6 shirt for Christian Konstantopoulos. And I, at the time, they just passed me by. I didn't even register that that's what they were doing. So my apologies to the FK Beograd group, but they raised that in tribute to their brother, who is out with a long-term injury. Then, yeah, they went through and they scored again and again and again. 3 headers at the back post and so on. There were gaping holes in midfield, and FK Beograd took full advantage. I think the goal's already been, but the second goal, Lorenzo Baselli's pass down the wing to create the second goal was absolutely sublime. He sort of flicked it from behind him. And yeah, Para Hills Knights, unfortunately for them, not their night at all. Joe Allison was away, so the team was taken by Gordon Bryce, a fellow Scot. He's from Fife though, so I found it really hard to understand what he was saying because they don't speak English properly over there. But look, a difficult night for them. I'm not sure where they go from here because they've got to try and bounce back. I think they've got Sturt next and Sturt are form side, so a difficult night for Para Hills Knights, and yeah, they'll have to move on. I'll move quickly on to my second game, which was the following day, Adelaide City versus Adelaide Youth at Adelaide City Park. I was on with Lorenzo Baselli as my co-commentator that afternoon. An interesting enough match. Adelaide United's Alex Battistella scored 2 goals, one in the 37th minute, one in the 68th minute. Struck a little bit of form. I mean, he was kind of quiet other than that, but I mean, if you're a striker and your job is to score goals and you get 2 in one game, then you're doing your job very well. So a good day out for Alex Battistella. I thought Fabian Taladera was very good in midfield. Tattoo, I felt, was maybe just a little bit off his game. Didn't think he'd had as good a game as I've seen in the past. Ethan Cox came in for Max Vartuli and did well enough in goal. But Yuki Kitano scored for Adelaide City, and Dominic Costanzo scored with a header from about 3 inches out. City will be disappointed not to have got more out of it, I think. You know, they are a team that's sitting up second in the ladder. It's their first dropped points of the season. They face Metro Stars next. They sit on 7 points. So they're 2 adrift of Playford in top spot with that draw. they'll be disappointed, I think, that they didn't get something out of it, because at the start of the day, Adelaide United were 11th in the table of 12, of course. Adelaide City haven't dropped a spot. They were second when play started and remain second after this result, but I'm sure City, of the two teams, will be looking at it as points lost. For Adelaide United, though, it gets them out of the bottom two. They're only on goal difference, right enough, but they sit above Para Hills Knights and Comets in the bottom two spots. Over to you, Alessio, if there's anything left.
I don't think there is. I didn't commentate any games, so that's all right. We've got a couple next week. But no, it was great to see so many of those games. They were quite close. I think closer than we expected, a few of them. So it was good watching from home.
Very good. We'll go on to our predictions for this week. But as always, Alessio, to you first. How did we do last week?
Great, to be honest. I think everyone had a fantastic week. All four of us got a perfect score in some games. And Mark got 5 perfect scores.
Oh, wow.
Almost one in every
Not good.
league except for the WSL. So I'll go through those perfect results that everyone else got, as well as Mark. So David got WNPL Salisbury Inter Women's. He got State League 1 Adelaide Olympic. Seb got Salisbury Inter Men's. I got West Adelaide Women and Men. And Mark got Metro Men, Vista Women, Olympic Men, Pontian Men, and Titans. So now that puts
Table.
points. So Mark is now top with 72 points. He picked up 27 points this weekend. I'm second with 69 points. I picked up 21 points this weekend.
Nice.
Seb picked up 19 points, so he got 67 points. And David picked up 21 points also, and is now at 58 points.
Very good. Very good. Very good. We'll do our predictions for this week, one per league. Starting off, State League 2 North, Modbury Vista versus Pontian Eagles. I've gone for a 2-all draw because I'm going to sit on the fence.
Vista versus Pontian.
I'm going Pontians 2-1.
I'll go Pontians 2-0.
I'll go Vista 3-1.
Actually, no, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to go a draw in this one, 2-all.
I think I saw Vista missing a couple players in their game against Demons. I'm not sure. I think there was a wedding this weekend that a lot of players were at. I'm not sure if someone missing.
Did you say 3-0, Alessio?
3-1 to Vista.
3-0. 3-1. 3-1. In the South, Seaford Rangers versus Garn United. I've gone 2-1 Seaford.
Where's it being played, Seb? Where's that one being played?
At Seaford.
Okay.
I think they're going to pick Strikers and Uni in this one. This league.
I'll go.
I thought it was too easy.
I'll go Seaford.
Make them wait for it. Make them wait. You can't give them all the good games, Alessio.
Seaford 2-0.
I'll go Seaford 4-1.
I'll go Seaford 3-1.
Well, Garn are going to be big fans of us this week. On to the WSL. Elizabeth Grove versus Sturt Lions. I've gone Sturt 3-2.
I'll go Sturt 4-2.
I'll go Sturt 2-0.
I'll go Sturt 2-1.
Tell you what, though, if there's a team that can beat Sturt, it might be Grove.
It could also might be Modbury or might be the Code.
It might be 7 other teams. State League 1 on the Monday night, which I believe will be commentated as well. Adelaide Blue Eagles versus Modbury Jets. I've gone 4-2 Jets.
3-1 Jets.
I'll go for a Jets win in this one. I'll go 2-0.
Alessio? He's muted. That's why we can't hear his predictions.
3-1 Jets, same as Mark.
On to the WNPL, Campbelltown City versus Football SA. I've gone for a 1-1 draw.
I think
Don't all
NTC
speak
might
up at
win this
once.
one. I think NTC might win this one.
Wow.
I'll go for because I think Campbelltown on paper look great, but they just haven't gelled yet. And when they do gel, they'll do very well. But they haven't gelled yet, and I'm going to go for a NTC win in this one, 3-2.
I'll go 2-0 Campbelltown.
I'm going to go 1-0 NTC.
And then finally on to the men's NPL, Campbelltown City versus Playford City. I've gone for 4-1 Playford.
I'm on this game. I'm going to go for Playford winning this one, 4-2.
I'll go a 2-2 draw.
I'll go Playford 2-0.
Okay, that is it for our predictions. And that is us just about done for the week. Anything else from the three of you before we finish off?
Make sure you come out to the games. Everyone tune in on Monday as well. David and I will be taking a State League 1 game. And also on that Friday night, David looks like he's doing State League 1 as well. There's a couple of double headers that night. So, yeah, a lot of football to watch.
I was going to say,
where get out to the games too.
Where are we all at on the weekend? I am at Metro Stars versus Adelaide Uni in the WNPL on Saturday afternoon.
I'm at Campbelltown for the back-to-back games, the men kicking off at 3 and the women kicking off at 5, and I have a co-commentator at the women's game in Lexinox.
I'll be at Ellis Park. I'll be at Ellis Park on Friday, doubleheader. Men and the women, Comets women versus Vista women, and Comets men versus Adelaide United youth. And I'll be at Monday with David too, at the Eagles.
Surprise, I'm on Berkala Friday night against FK Beograd, which for me is lining up between that and the Adelaide City Metro Stars games. For me are probably the two highlights that I'm really looking forward to this weekend. So I'm on the Berkala FK Beograd game. I can
let you know, Mark, that you have a camera operator at that match as well.
I do.
Unfortunately, the AI camera is still not in the working order.
I know the AI camera is still unfortunately not working. It got hit. I believe it got hit by a ball and busted. They actually have to replace the entire camera. Hint, hint, wink, wink at every club that's got an AI camera. But just hit it from the back side so they can't film you who actually hit it.
Yes, that's just about us for another week. Alessio and David, when you're at Blue Eagles, make sure to tell them to keep the lights on or fix whatever they fixed last time so they don't go off at 10 p.m. on the dot. But yeah, all from us for another week. David?
Seb, I did send you a little video through. I don't know if you can play it or not. On Saturday.
I can, I think.
That's okay. I
in a second.
Prep it up. Yeah, it's just Lorenzo was on with me at commentary, and at the very end of the game, I asked him if he would mind saying goodbye in his own native tongue, and he did so. And I thought it'd be a nice way to play this out tonight if you can get to it. But you're frozen now. Have I broken something?
Before you do that, before we say goodbye, if there are anyone that wants to sponsor the show, jump on, reach out to one of us. And let us know, because we'd love to have you on board. As you see, we are growing in stature, and it could be a good thing to get in early before we explode and make it big in SA.
Yeah, we might end up bigger than Wham, so get on board. And look, thanks to people as well who come up to us and give us a little bit of a niggle online with our tips. It was interesting to see the comments this week. Bear in mind, as I said last week, we are trying to win a tipping competition, so just bear that in mind. I might tip against you even though you're favourites or whatever, but I'm doing it because I'm trying to win a tipping comp. You know, if you win a tipping comp at your work, I'm sure you do the same.
And I had a parent reach out to me on the game on Saturday. Tom Visser's dad come up and introduce himself and that. So by all means, if you see us out, come up and talk to us and introduce yourselves, because you might get a shout out and we might get a sponsor out of it if one of them owns a business. So you never know. You just never know.
And if you can't load that little
I don't think I can get the...
Seb,
I'm really trying.
well, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. We'll save it for next week.
Okay. I'll save it for next week. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Again, watch the football. Enjoy your weekend. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
And we look like we're heading to extra time, but there's still 5 minutes to play here, Mark. And by all means, there could be more chances. Still in the box, and it's another goal! And it's Andre Cole, the hero for Croydon! We thought it was over, but it's not over, and Croydon look like they're going to go all the way to the win!
We can't say that now. Here goes Yuki Sasaki into the area. Penagaris, Chrissy Penagaris. Adelaide Comets have taken the lead.
Falcon there, but it leaves Owen Windsor. And a third for Metro Stars.
Here's Emma Ryan. She's not one of them because she's from Darwin. The shot from DeCola. Lily DeCola scores in the cup final again and wins it for West Adelaide.
As the ball cuts back here to Odenwalder. And James Odenwalder scores. He makes it 2-0 for West Adelaide on the day.
I bet he was going to be Travella if he puts one in. He goes himself instead. And it's still Soy Sakani. It's unbelievable, David, as well. And that one is definitely going to be credited to him.
Will have to be chased down by Rapuano. He'll put in a cross of his own. Hobbs wasn't able to capture it. It's in! It's not the one that steals that Atletico promotion.
I got the skills to make the girls sing, and the geezers too. Yeah, we're doing this thing.